In this lesson, we'll finish creating our leg controls. The next controls we'll make are going to be for the character's knees. So we'll make a circle for this. Once the circle has been made, we can scale this up to a decent size. We can also rotate it 90 degrees in the X. And let's go ahead and align it to the character's left knee. What you could also do is just turn on template mode. That allows you to work a little bit easier. Now with the object selected, go into our move tool. We'll again hold V and middle click and drag right where the knee joint is to reposition. Okay, from here we can work on reshaping this some more. So let's give this a interesting design. We'll go ahead and select our few of our outer points here, these 4 points. And then let's go ahead and scale these in. Okay, so we have this star type of shape. From there, we'll go ahead and select our the other points that we haven't manipulated, and then we'll go ahead and bring these back. So we're left with a pretty interesting curve that we can use. Let's go ahead and center the pivot of this, and we will bring this object out. I like to bring the knee controls quite a bit of ways, not too far at all. We don't want to go too far from the character, but I like to bring it quite a bit of ways from the character's leg so we don't run into any flipping necessarily as we would work on cycles for our animation, bringing our legs forward. So just make sure that we have a far enough location where it's not too far. And then from there we can go ahead and clean this up, freeze its transformations, and delete history. Can call this CC underscore L underscore knee 01. And with that now made, we're really only going to be translating this, but we could start by first just duplicating the object, selecting just the translate X axis, hold down the V key and snap to the right knee so that that will be aligned. Now with this object selected, we can freeze its transforms, switch our L to an R and the 2 to a 1. Great, now with both selected, we'll make sure both objects are selected. We'll get rid of scale all the way to visibility. Lock and hide. Okay, so our next task could be to make sure we recolor these. So with the left knee, that's going to be a color of blue. And we'll stay consistent with the blues we're choosing. And we'll do the same for the right side using red. Okay, so now that that's done, the connection is simply going to be selecting our control object, selecting our IK handle, and going to constraint and using a pole vector constraint, okay, with default settings. So now we have control, if we were to select this, of animating the character's knee. Very nice. So, undoing this, we can now go to the right knee, select the IK handle for it, and just press G to repeat the last tool. There it is. Alright, very nice. So we have our knee control set up. From here, let's go to our outliner and perspective view. We'll open up our character node, open up the global move, okay, and even opening up our extra nodes, we'll make sure that these control objects belong where they need to, which is right in our control objects group container. So with all of these selected, we'll middle mouse button click and drag right into our control objects group. And notice how organized everything is. If we were to collapse our character node, notice how clean that is. If we were even to collapse any other groups, you can see that this is really making things more organized within our scene. Okay, so now that that's done, to really finish it off, what we have left to do is make sure our toe roll attributes are going to be tied in as needed. So for this, we'll access our connection editor under Window, General Editors, and go to the connection editor. And with our foot control selected, either right or left, we could start with the left. It should already be loaded to the driver side or the left side of the connection editor. From there, I like to go to display and make sure that non-keyable, show non-keyable is checked off so we could just see what we're needing to work with. and we'll select the toe roll. Now, what is going to be driven by this attribute? Well, that's going to be our rotation, the Z rotation of our bone. As we can see, if I were to go ahead and shrink the view here of this window, can select the rotate Z, and notice it tells us what axis that we're going to want to control here. So we'll reload this to the right side, and again, just show everything that is keyable. We'll open up our rotate, and again, with the toe roll selected, we'll go to our rotate Z, and now a connection has been made. If we were to select this and use the toe roll attribute, notice we're going to be able to control it just fine. Great. So we can now go ahead and work on the same thing for this time, our right side. So we'll select that, reload it to the left, select toe roll. Now we can select the bone, reload that to the right, go to our rotate Z, and connect, and then test. Great. Excellent. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with the foot controls. And we do have other training that talks about rigging characters in more detail, our cartoon character series, as well as our character setup kits. But again, this kind of gives you an idea of some ways you can go about by doing that. Alrighty. Well, that finishes up our control objects for the legs. So what's next to do is to work on constructing the character's spine. And we'll begin that in the next lesson.